In the olden days when I was born, to insult a gray hair was to slap the face of a spirit. But in this village lived a girl named Zina. Zina's eyes were like sharp flint stones. Her tongue? Her tongue was a machete that had been sharpened on a rock for 7 days. She was beautiful, yes, but her beauty was like a poisonous flower, lovely to look at, but it would kill you if you touched it. And then there was Daike, her betrothed. Daike was a boy whose ego was taller than the Iroko tree. They walked together like two fires, burning everything in their path. One market day, the sun was sitting in the middle of the sky like a king on a throne. Zina and Daike were strutting through the stalls, dressed in fine lace, pushing through the crowd as if the world belonged to them. An old woman, Mama Nene, was kneeling by the path. Her back was bent like a bow that had forgotten how to shoot. She was carefully picking up fallen grains of ukwa, bread nut, from the dust. Her hands shook like dry leaves in the wind. Daike's foot kicked the old woman's basket. The grains flew into the red dirt like hailstones. "Oh no!" Mama Nene cried, her voice thin like a spider's web. "My daughter, my son, please. My hands are old. This is my only meal for the moon." Zina looked down at her. She didn't offer a hand. She didn't even say, "Ndo, sorry." Instead, she curled her lip. "Why are you crawling on the floor like a lizard? If you are too old to see the path, stay in your hut and wait for the grave. You are staining my wrappers with your dust." The market went quiet. Even the goats stopped chewing. Daike laughed, a sound like dry bones rattling. "Look at her, Zina. She is using anti-wrinkle mud on her face, but the wrinkles are winning. Old woman, why do you waste the air? You should have joined the ancestors when the last king died." Mama Nene looked up. Her eyes were milky with age, but deep inside them, something sparked, a cold, ancient light. "My children, the sun that shines on the morning dew will eventually sit on the evening hill. You mock my gray hairs today, but remember, the road you walk has no turning back." "Keep your proverbs, bag of bones," Zina hissed. "I have no time for those who smell of yesterday." And they walked away, leaving the old woman in the dirt. The wall of stone. But listen, my children, life is a river that flows in a circle. That night, Zina dreamed of thread. She dreamed of silk twisting into knots, tightening around her fingers, cutting into her skin no matter how hard she pulled. But Zina had a real dream of becoming a master weaver. In Oruobu, if a girl wanted to be a master weaver, to weave the sacred silks worn by the priestesses, she had to pass the trial of the 7 needles. Zina was fast, but she was careless. She had no soul in her work. The day of the trial came. The elders watched her. Her fingers moved, but the silk knotted. Her pattern was chaotic. "Zina of the sharp tongue," the chief priest spoke, his voice like rolling thunder. "Your hands are skilled, but your heart is a desert. No silk can grow in a desert. You have failed. You will never weave for the gods." Zina's world shattered. If she could not weave, she would be nothing. She would be a servant in her father's house, washing pots until her hands turned to leather. That night, shame sat beside her like a silent visitor. "There is one way," a young apprentice whispered to her later. "There is an old woman who lives on the edge of the silence. She was the master weaver before the great fever. They say she can teach a blind man to see color in the dark, but she is difficult." Zina grabbed the address, a hut marked with a symbol of a broken spindle. The House of Silence. When Zina arrived at the hut, the air felt different. It smelled of old herbs and old rain. She knocked hard. "Who is there?" a voice called from inside. "I am Zina. I need help for the trial. Let me in." The door creaked open. Zina's heart stopped. Standing there, holding a spindle, was the old woman from the market, Mama Nene. The silence lasted a long time. "Come in, Zina," the old woman said softly. Zina felt a cold sweat on her neck. She sat on a wooden stool that felt like it was carved from stone. I am making a pot of bitter leaf soup. It was my late husband's favorite. Would you like a bowl? Zina's old habit rose up like a cobra. I didn't come here to eat your poor man's soup. I want the secret of the 7 needles. Just give me the technique so I can leave this smelly hut. Mama Nene dropped the spoon. Clang! The sound echoed through the village. Manners are the oil that keep the joints of the world from grinding, the old woman said, her voice turning stern. Your father was a man of honor, Zina. He died in the great hunt trying to protect the elders. If he saw you now, he would weep. Zina flinched. Mentioning her father was like a needle in her heart. My father is dead, and his honor didn't save him from the claws of the leopard. Just help me or don't. If you want my light, you must learn to carry the lamp. The choice is yours. Respect the teacher or remain a failure. Zina looked at her fine lace, now dusty. She looked at the old woman's steady hands. For the first time, the girl lowered her head. Fine, teach me. The cost of the silk. For 3 months, Zina went to the hut. She swept. She listened. She failed. She tried again. Mama Nene's hands were steady, scarred by years of loss. One night, she spoke of the great fever, of burying children, of weaving through grief so the village would remember beauty. Zina's tongue learned rest. Her heart learned wait. But Daike was not happy. He would wait for her on the path, smelling of palm wine and arrogance. Some people wait for you on the road not to walk with you, but to turn you back. Why do you spend time with that walking corpse? You are becoming just like her, crusty and boring. Come to the wrestling match. Come to the feast. I have to study, Daike. If I don't pass, I have no future. Future? Daike laughed, pulling her arm. Your future is with me. You will be my wife. You will cook my yams and wash my clothes. You don't need to weave for gods. You have no talent anyway. You are just a girl playing with thread. Zina felt a sting deeper than any insult she had ever given. My mother washes dishes for the chief because she had no skill. I will not be her. I have a dream, Daike. Dreams are for those who are awake, Daike spat. You are just a dreamer in a hut with a witch. If you go back there today, don't bother coming to my compound again. We are finished. Zina looked at Daike. She looked at the man she thought was her king. Then she looked towards the edge of the silence, where a small light flickered in an old woman's window. Then go to your wrestling match, Daike, Zina said, her voice steady. I have a needle to catch. Some days later, the day of the second trial came. Zina stood before the village. Her hands did not shake. She wove a pattern so intricate, so deep, that it looked like the spirit world reflecting in water. The chief priest gasped. This is the lost stitch of the ancestors. Only one person knew this. Zina looked into the crowd. Mama Nene was there, sitting in the back, leaning on her staff. She wasn't wearing mud. She was wearing a simple, clean wrapper, and she was smiling. Daike stood apart, small, forgotten. He tried to catch Zina's eye, but she looked past him as if he were made of glass. After the ceremony, Zina walked to the old woman. Thank you, Mama. Zina knelt in the red dirt, the same dirt she once feared would stain her clothes. Mama Nene touched her head. You see, my daughter, the beauty of the silk is not in the thread. It is in the tension between the needles. Without the struggle, there is no pattern. Daike walked past them, muttering, Why do you still talk to that old hag? She doesn't even have a title. I see no witch, she said. I see a mirror. Zina stood up and looked at her teacher. Mama Nene laughed, a sound like clear water over pebbles. And from that day on, the people of Oruobu say that if you look closely at the sacred silks of the priestesses, you can see a secret message woven into the border. The tongue can build a house or it can burn a forest, but only the heart can weave the truth. The fire has gone out, my children. Go to sleep, and as you walk in the dark, remember, Watch where you kick your feet. You never know whose basket you are breaking.